Let's discuss about the asset classes allocation model with the two securities. With two securities here, now the bond and equity, and we'll find the optimal level, optimal risky portfolio to maximize the Sharpe ratios. The asset allocation model of the risky asset, we didn't cover the optimal level of the standard deviation and uh, the excess return. But here we want to develop this model to find this optimal risky portfolio, which is this point, right? This point that satisfy the capital asset or this point that satisfy the capital asset allocation line. So here first we need to get the covariances again, covariances. Only one case of the correlation coefficient. Covariance is how to calculate it. Right, just combination of this standard deviation of risky assets times correlation coefficient. Okay, that is covariances. Now here we also have the same, right? Same cases of 10 here on the weight of bond and the weight of equity in each the cases here, where we have the expected rate of return and the standard deviation. Also reward to variability, which is Sharpe ratio, because we want to find the optimal risky portfolio weight that satisfies the maximum of the Sharpe ratio. So let's fill out this part together. So now, how do we get the expected rate of return? Right here, we want to first start from expected rate of return, right? And then let's fix times. We want to fix only, right? The B column plus now expected rate of return of the equity. We want to fix times now here the weight of this the equity. Now we finish this expected rate of return on each cases, right? On the weights here. Now the standard deviation. Now standard deviation part is always very boring, right? Tedious part, but it's one of the most important part, right? So let's calculate the weight to the power of, but we want to fix again this row. We want to fix this the column to the power of 2 times, right, the standard deviation. We want to fix to the power of 2 plus now the weight of the column to the power of 2 times standard deviation. We want to fix to the power of 2 plus now 2 times the standard deviation we want to fix I'm sorry, we need to use the weight. We want to open row but the fixed column times the weight of the equity. Also want to fix the column only. And then covariance we want to fix. Okay, if I just enter here, this is not the standard deviation, right? This is the variance. So we need to square root. To do so, we can use square root function on Excel or just 0.5 so that we can the square root this, right? So we have this standard deviation once you complete, and then let's drag down. So finally we found this, the efficient frontier line, right? And then let's calculate the Sharpe ratios. How to calculate the Sharpe ratios? Open the parenthesis. Now we have expected rate of return minus the 5%, the treasury bill, so that we got the risk premium or excess return divided by the standard deviation of this case. So we found this, we got this, the Sharpe ratios, right? Where do you see the highest Sharpe ratio? Here, this combination, right? This combination will generate highest, right? So around this 4%, right? But we want to see, we want to find the exact level of the weights. So anyway, it's just that you have as a ballpark. Here, expected rate of return 11% and 40% is standard deviation, where the investors has the highest performance. Investment performance is the highest. If the question is asking the minimum variance portfolio, where the lowest standard deviation, where do you see the lowest one? Okay, there you go. This level, right? This level. So around the 11% is the standard deviation, lowest one here. But what you want to find here, the capital allocation line that make the tangent of this efficient frontier line, which is this weight that has the highest, the Sharpe ratio, which is slope, right? But anyway, let's calculate, not in this ballpark, but in the calculation process. We use this equation developed, and you can use this equation, but you don't have to, because we can use the solver as well. So the weight of the equity is 1 minus this, right? Also 1 minus. We have two cases. One is the short sale allowed, the other one is no short sale. But in this case, we will have the same result. This case is optimal risk portfolio cases, 1 minus. Right. So the expected rate of return, how do we get this expected rate of return? Now, yeah, once we have the weight, and here the rate of return. So rate of return, we want to fix times this bond weight plus, now let's fix times the equity weight. And then let's calculate the standard deviation exactly the same way. Bond weight you don't have to actually calculate in that way. You can just copy and paste, because we have the equation here, right? The same equation, and then here just copy and paste. You can also copy and paste here and copy and paste here, right? So this level and this level, we make the maximum here, the minimum and the standard deviation, and maximum and the Sharpe ratios, right? We can also calculate this, the minimum variances, which is this minimum standard deviation through the solver. If the solver is the set objective, the standard deviation, which is minimum level, and then by changing the cell of this bond weight and the solve, okay, then we can get this, the weight. It's not exactly 82%, but anyway, almost, yeah, the same as the 82%, right? Where the standard deviation has minimum. So this line, do you see here? The combination of the risk-free assets and the bond and the equity, right? Here, the penalty rated is efficient frontier line through this minimum the variances. But we have to assume that the investors are very rational. If they increase the standard deviation, which is the risk of the portfolio, they can get the higher the expected rate of return, which makes the highest, the steepest this the slope, which is Sharpe ratios, right? So now let's calculate here using the solver. Set the objective of here the maximum Sharpe ratio, maximum changing the maximum by changing the cell of this optimal risk portfolio weight of debt and solve. And okay, so we have this the optimal risk portfolio weight, where we found the maximum of the Sharpe ratio 42%, right? Now, once we completed this optimal level of risky portfolio, then let's allocate to the risk-free asset with the risk-free asset. So let's go to the optimal risk portfolio, optimal complete portfolio, or when the utility, the function average score is 4. So here, now how do we get this? The weight. You guys remember this, the equation on the first session, the exercise, capital allocation, right? Here, this equation is exactly the same one we are going to use. So here, optimal, the risky portfolio weight, optimal risky portfolio weight, how to calculate it? Right, expected rate of return. What's the expected rate of return? Right, the expected rate of return, open the parenthesis, the 11% minus, where is the risk-free asset? 5% divided by, what is the risk aversion score? Right, risk aversion score is 4 times, where is the standard deviation of portfolio? Right, there you go, to the power of 2. So which is the variance then now. The optimal the weight of the risky portfolio that is comprised of the bond and the equity is now 74%. So automatically the risk-free assets will invest 25%. Expected rate of return of the portfolio, complete portfolio, is now, how to get it? 74% times 11% plus 25% of the risk-free asset times risk-free asset rate of return. So we got now expected rate of return of this complete portfolio is 9.4%. Next, how to calculate the standard deviation of the complete portfolio? Yes, simply we use this equation we practiced earlier. So the complete the standard deviation, how to get it? We can rearrange this formula. Just weight times the standard deviation of the portfolio. Weight times standard deviation of the portfolio, 14.199%. So finally, we got this 10% 56, which is standard deviation of a complete portfolio that is comprised of the risk-free asset and risk asset. Now, Sharpe ratio of this complete portfolio is the expected rate of return of this portfolio minus risk-free asset 5% divided by standard deviation of complete portfolio. Then, what is the bond weight? It's now very simple, right? This 74% of total the optimal risk portfolio now times where is the bond weight. Where's bond weight? Yeah, there we go, 40%. And here again the 74% times 60% of the equity weight. So finally we got the bond weight 29%, equity weight 44%, and risk-free asset 5%. And we found this portfolio of complete. And here we drew here the optimal level, which is P level, is that makes the tangent of the capital allocation line and the efficient frontier line that is comprised of this the risky-free asset. The risky asset, two different type of risk assets. This appendix part, we have the target or desired rate of return, and you can just practice yourself. So, guys, see you on the next video clip. Have the Markowitz minimum variance model and the index model. You guys, bye bye.